Okay, so before the Hacker Tower was released, there's a cinematic trailer that was made by Profine. Now here, it's just a cinematic trailer, really, of showing what the Hacker Tower could potentially do in Tower Defense Simulator before its release. Here, it's just Cyber City just being showcased, and it's the scout running away from the armored enemies. And as shown here, actually, the scout is running away from these enemies because it's holding, as I speculated in the suitcase here, a serum for some sort of thing. I don't know. Probably something to do with Patient Zero. And actually, I think the person voicing here, the dispatcher, Bethy VA, was hired or contracted to voice this. Not entirely sure if this is going to be in the main game. It sounds like stuff that would be in the main game as like part of a cutscene. But as far as I'm aware, there is no like Cyber City thing for Tower Defense Simulator planned, at least, given the fact that Cyber City is currently an evergreen map. Also, interestingly, it does have a billboard injured with the Molten Boss at the time and the Fallen King at the time. These were billboards that were created for the Solar Eclipse update, but it's now using Cyber City, which is cool to see. And as mentioned previously, the scout is actually on a mission back to base, so he hasn't committed a crime. So yeah, I misspoke.
You're almost back to base, Scout. Don't lose her trust Serum Zero.
Her trust Serum Zero. I don't know what that is, to be honest. But then after the scout trips over, or jumps actually, that's a pretty bad jump. He then collides with what appears to be the ghoul, and then almost gets caught up by these enemies. And then the Hacker Tower here, which looks like a green Hacker Tower, seems to hack these zombies, and they go against each other. So that's the hacking side of things. And that's what we saw here when the Hacker Tower hacks the Fallen Squire and goes back to base. Furthermore, the Hacker Tower here seems to hack the scouts, but then instead of, you know, dying, the Hacker Tower duplicates itself and then shoots the ghoul here. And this is done by the drone, and it seems to be temporary before it dies off, so it doesn't seem like it's permanent. And then the Hacker Tower obviously gets the briefcase. So an interesting showcase of what the hacker's ability could be. And this is being recorded just before the Hacker Tower is released, so that's a quite cool cinematic trailer to be released. Now, the update has now been released, and the Hacker Tower currently costs 2,999 Robux, or 6,000 gems. So yes, as speculated, the Hacker Tower is a Game Pass tower. I mean, we saw that previously, but I mean, currently right, 5,500 coins. Oh, okay, that might be a glitch, I can't lie. However, this is a glitch. It's meant to show up as gems. It's apparently, according to Menton, a necro bug. So Menton does have 5,500 coins. It's just that he doesn't have the right amount of gems required. So yes, while it does show this costing 5,500 coins, no, don't worry, it takes away your gems. So as you can see here, it takes away my gems. Very cool. Time to do my Good Citizens award. I'm just going to gift Menton, let's see, 500 gems. Let's go. Now, below Matral says that the first 50 people to triumph the hidden wave, the first 48, but it was increased to 50, would get a exclusive skin, and that exclusive skin would be the Triumphant Hacker. I'll talk about this later, given the fact that the Hacker also has a Fallen skin in Tower Defense Simulator. Yes, I'll probably showcase that in that video as well. But as you can see here, yes, the Corrupted Touch, it comes with the Circuit Hacker and the Fallen Hacker skin. It costs 1,000 coins. I assume it'll cost 399 Robux to buy. Actually, it does, because before this update, there was a developer product, which was just gibberish before it was renamed to Corrupted Touch, and you can skip it for 399 Robux. So the Hacker Tower itself, it's very expensive to place down, 1,400. You're looking at the likes of more expensive than the DJ booth, probably on par with something like the Minigunner. Oh, and a quick shout, they've added the Fallen Dreg. So the Fallen Dreg was actually a secret enemy that was added, like, secretly a while ago for the Fallen mode rework. However, it wasn't used. However, now, the developers, in their wisdom and rework to Fallen mode, they have now added it. I'll probably do a full breakdown of Fallen mode in the next video. However, yes, Fallen Dregs are now in Tower Defense Simulator, and yes, they look a bit like Core Block stuff with their animations, yeah. Oh, yes, it also means that there's a new logbook, and I just got the Fallen Dreg logbook after, what, 3 kills, 4 kills? Yeah, Scholar, I don't need that shit. So, the Hacker Tower, there are 2 abilities with it. It's able to hack defeated enemies to convert them into friendly units with health based on EV, which me and Menton have speculated that it's probably exponential value, which is probably the health scaling of the enemy, while the other ability is to clone other towers temporarily based on their total cost. So early on, it looks like the Hacker Tower, it looks like it can damage these enemies, and it can also hack these enemies to go back. As you can see here, the Fallen Dreg is going all the way back and colliding with that enemy, just did damage with it. Now, the Hacker Tower, at base stats, it has 0.8 fire rate. It has, well, to be fair, I have boosted range, so I'm going to say 11 range. But it does look like if the enemy has a death animation, it looks like they don't get hacked, which is very odd. Also, it seems like they get an increase in enemy cash rewards when you defeat an enemy, which sounds very interesting, I can't lie. But that's the wire fraud ability. And yes, because we defeated the Fallen Dreg previously, we're now going to get duplicate logbooks for the rest of the match, which is going to be very interesting. Now, there is a limit to the amount of hacker towers you can place down, which is 2, and you can't place any more than that. So at level 1, it increases to, say, 15 range and 0.8 to 0.5 fire rate. And it gets the wire fraud ability, which is a 7.5 increase in enemy cash rewards for $600. At level 2, it gets hidden detection, and its damage increases from 4 to 6. Upgraded synapses. So the synapses, that refers to the fact that the hacker tower has the amount, these beams or whatever, the amount of synapses is currently 1 for the level 1 towers, but the synapses increases to 2 at level 2. There's also apparently a slowdown at level 2, which the beam now applies a 50% slowness debuff to enemies. I assume for enemies without the immunity, for stun immunity, it might be slower. Also, boss immunities, I assume it won't be effective towards those. Additionally, enemies converted now have a higher health. I assume that means the enemies that... Let's see how much health that the Fallen Giant gets when it gets hacked, if it dies. Anyways, 4 damage for 0.5 fire rate, that's 20 DPS. 20 DPS for $2,000. Not too bad, given the fact that it also can convert enemies when they do die. At level 3, 7,500 teleportation tech, increased 16 range, 20 damage, and tower hologram. Select a tower to create a temporary hologram of it. Cloning costs 90% of the tower's cost, and the hologram lifetime is 60 seconds. For example, what if you clone another Gatling gun? I don't know how much it costs at max level. I believe it's like $500,000. Could you clone that for like 60 seconds for even more DPS? Sounds a bit OP if you ask me. Also, I just realized I don't have any towers that are very good to be duplicated. I mean, I have the DJ booth, and the DJ... What if you can't dupe the DJ booth? That seems a bit odd. So it does seem like you can dupe the DJ booth, which is very interesting. Okay, let's see. Where's my hacker? Let's see. Get this hacker. Dupe, say, the DJ booth. Oh, it's on the case. It's like Watch Dogs. Dupe this, and then place it here. And then, do I get 2 abilities? It doesn't show my other DJ booth. Oh, now it does. Okay, so there's an animation for it. So, what happens if I were to convert this over to green? Convert this over to green, and then do B. Oh, yes, I can get some of my money back. Although, to be fair, this only does last for about 60 seconds, so it's not permanent. And as you can see, it does have a bar here. But I'm able to recoup some of the cost back. However, I can't upgrade it. So if I dupe a tower, it remains at that same level when I duped it. It doesn't upgrade as with my DJ booth here. But I can go for like red here, while this DJ booth is on green, and I get all my cash here. Although to be fair, that's probably a bad idea. I probably want to switch over to red to get the cash, the additional cash that I want from the DJ booth. Now, it does look like you need some space to place the DJ booth. So if you can see here, I press N to... Can I... Okay, so dupe the DJ booth. You can see the cost is $30,000. To be fair, that's a bad dupe. But it seems like you can't dupe other hacker towers. So there was a thought that some people had that you can dupe a hacker tower, then dupe another hacker tower, then dupe another hacker tower with that dupe, and then dupe another... Yeah, you can't do that. So that's interesting now. So at max level, or for the hardcore tower, so for hardcore mode, it does seem like there is some possibility with having a load of cash, because it seems like you can probably dupe, say, the Gatling gun, and then have another tower that's dealing like 800 DPS, which, to be fair, doesn't seem too much. But with a hacker tower, and you can do that twice because there are 2 hacker towers, you could do fairly well damage with that. And also, yes, the Fallen Hero was hacked, 759 damage. Very cool. Next, we got the 5th gen i9 326-059-0327. You know when I joked about the iPhone 16 Pro Max, Ultra, Light, Air, stuff like that? I wasn't joking when I talked about that. No, the hacker tower does actually use the joke that I make. Now, I assume that it wasn't me that made this joke and then the developers copied it. No, I assume it's like one of the testers who coded this. I assume this ID here, this is an ID for like the image here, or like the image for the hacker tower, or like the place image. Who knows? So here, its range is increased to 19, or well, 18 probably because of the DJ booth buff. Its fire rate decreases from 0.43 to 0.26. Again, that's probably checked because of the commander. Upgraded wire fraud increased to enemy cash rewards from 10% to 12.5%. Oh yeah, it seems like the hacker tower does deal enemy cash bonuses on those that are killed. Also, the necrotic skeleton spawns naturally, okay? Upgraded slowness. Slowness debuff increased from 15% to 20%. Upgraded tower hologram, 90% of the tower's cost. But the hologram lifetime has increased from 60 seconds to 75 seconds. And upgraded unit conversions. Enemies converted now have higher health. I do wonder what happens if there are two hack towers on different levels attacking the same enemy. Which health does it follow? Does it follow the lower or the higher? I'm going to assume the higher. And finally, there are two upgrade paths here. So the overclock, which is the red path above, from what we saw in the thumbnail leak, and then you got the blue path down here, the bottom path. So again, this is a second tower with multiple upgrade paths, first to the pursuit. So the up path, the overclock path, 0.23 to 0.07 fire rate. I'll go again. Do bear in mind that I have the commander placed down. 19.6 to 22.66 again with the enhanced optics and the DJ booth. And 22 to 16.5 damage. So it seems like less damage, but more fire rate. A number of synapses increased to 2 to 4. Enemies converted now have a higher health. Rug pull seems like there's more cost and upgraded tower holograms. So rug pull seems like it's more cost efficiency and it seems like better when you're duping a tower, whereas overclock, it's more damage based, specifically for the hacker tower. Because as you can see here, the range has increased to 25.72. Okay, the damage has only decreased to 90.8, but do bear in mind that the fire rate for the overclock is lower, therefore meaning it can damage more enemies. So rug pull wise, I think the rug pull upgrade actually has less DPS, but and also it can't attack as many enemies because the number of synapses has increased from 2 to 4 at overclock and 2 to 3 at rug pull, while also having a fire rate that is less than or higher than the overclock, so it can deal less damage over time. Meanwhile, the slowness debuff has increased from 20% to 25%. The wire fraud, 12.5% to 20%, and the cloning now only costs 65% of a tower's cost, when compared to the level 5, the other one, which is 90%. So if I do rug pull, right, and then I were to dupe the Gatling gun, which is 63,000, oh my god, for temporary... okay, this is going to be a painful test, but you know what, fair enough. So, yes, as you can see, it takes a while for the drones to get over there, but I now have an ability to shoot. Well, it looks like I can shoot, but does it actually work? It does work! Yes, I got another Gatling gun. Wow, okay, so you can only one person needs to bring the Gatling gun, and you can dupe it. Although, do bear in mind that this is a very expensive thing to do, even with 65% of the tower cost. With the hacker tower that I used, the rug pull, it's very expensive. So, I mean, unless you're absolutely balling with cash, or you have the farm or something, or you're in hardcore mode and you don't really need the cash anymore at the max level, yeah, this is going to be quite something. It's going to be quite OP, but also it's very expensive, so you better save up. Also, again, the reason why I have so many logbooks is because of the Fallen Dreg logbook. Nothing to do with Scholar. Scholar is still useless. Do not buy Scholar. It is the worst upgrade ever. Now, that being said, it does seem like the optimum ability is to do one overclock and then one rug pull. That being said, though, if you were to have two rug pulls and then you were to have the Gatling gun to, like, twice over, then that does seem quite OP. So, perhaps in, like, game modes like these, or, like, hardcore mode, when you have, like, a bunch of money, what seems to be the possibility is that you dupe the Gatling gun twice over. So you have the Gatling gun, like, whatever, how much ever it costs, which, I mean, to be fair, it is quite an expensive tower, even at level 5, as I have it here. Level 6 is going to be even more expensive, so perhaps there's an advantage of keeping the Gatling gun at level 5 instead of upgrading it to level 6, given the fact it's going to be quite expensive. So, actually, I'm just going to do 2 rug pulls and just clone Shane's Gatling gun. How much does it cost to clone it now? Let's see. 118,000. I can't even afford that. Wow. Yeah, this is a very expensive thing to do, and it's actually quite stupid. So, perhaps not the best of ideas. So, for the eco boost, enemies need to be killed within the hacker's range to have an increase in their eco rewards on death. Enemies damaged and killed in the hacker's range will be able to be hacked and converted into a friendly unit. How health it has is based on enemies' max health to an exponential value. That exponential value could be, I don't know, 0.2. I'm not entirely sure. I'll wait for Menton to do his statistic analysis on that. There's also a whole bunch of bug fixes. There's also changes to a lot of towers in Tower Defense Simulator. So that includes the accelerator, which apparently has been nerfed, but I'll be the judge of that. The cowboy, the golden cowboy, the trapper, and the mortar. Oh, so 2 of the towers that I brought have changed. Oh well. Apparently, there's also audio and typo corrections across towers and emotes. I'm sure they followed all of the bug reports that me and Mented have made. We have like 500 or something. Yeah, I'm exaggerating. That's 250 probably. And general performance improvements and bug fixes. Very cool. So what do I think of the Hacker Tower? Actually, I think the Hacker Tower can be OP. I can very easily see people who may not be experienced with the Hacker Tower, it not being as good as you thought it would be. However, if you're very experienced with the Hacker Tower and you know what you're doing, it seems quite OP, especially in like quad mode or trio mode, when someone brings the Gatling gun and all you need to do is just basically clone them and just farm off them. Although, to be fair, I should have probably upgraded my farms up to level 5 and then taken advantage of the higher costs. But oh well. And also, the Fallen Shield with 8,000 health going back to attack these enemies seems quite useful. And actually, with the right towers, the Hacker Tower can be very OP, so I recommend either the Gatling gun or the turret because they have low placement limits, purely because their high DPS means that they are very OP. And if you were to combine, if you were to clone the turrets to like max level or something, you have the money for it, seems OP. However, if you were to clone, I don't know, say the DJ booth, while I did it as a joke at the start of this video, I wouldn't recommend it. It also seems like the buff towers, they can actually be affected by the buffs that are nearby in the tower's range. So, for example, if I were to do this, yes, it can be buffed by the flags, which appeared briefly, but that's cool. Oh, it seems like you can only clone one hologram tower at a time. You can't have 2 hologram towers active, which seems very odd, I can't lie. And also, with a Gatling gun, why is there a drone in my way? Drone, can you get out of the fucking way, please? Okay, but now I can clone it. So, what? I can't clone 2 things at the same... or what? But I can clone it again? What? Okay, so it seems very weird that I can only clone it once, and then after that I can clone it again. That seems really odd. Maybe it's a glitch. I think it's a glitch. Otherwise, yeah. I can now have 2 Gatling guns. Oh, sorry. 3 Gatling guns active at the same time, which seems a bit OP. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah, Hacker Tower, definitely balanced. I think it is balanced, given the fact that it cost me an arm and a leg to dupe the Gatling gun. But it seems very good.